TWM podcast.
Hello, I am Matty Deller, and this is Best of the Rest, your Friday roundup of the odds and ends in your wrestling week. I'll introduce my usual co-host in a few seconds' time, but first let's run through all the admin. This is a TWM podcast bringing you 6 days of news, reviews and interviews each and every week, available on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Acast, TuneIn, Podbean, Deezer, all these places, Podchaser, all these great places. You can check it all out at twm.news. If you hit the podcast section, we've got a brand new lovely page detailing all the podcasts and where you can find them, and we're also on YouTube, so please go and subscribe there, smash that like button, turn on notifications so you do not miss an episode. We are brought to you by the fantastic We Love Sport, or a fantastic app showcasing the latest WWE pay-per-views, obviously not in the current time, but download the app when this whole thing blows over and you'll be able to sort out over 400 of the best sports bars and pubs in the UK, book front row seats so you do not miss a second of the action. In the meantime, you can go check them out on social media, all at We Love Sport UK, and what they're doing over at welovesport.co. We help them out now and again with some stuff on their blog, but they're doing fantastic content to keep you guys occupied during these trying times. WrestleCrate, they are fantastic. If you use the code TWM Wrestling, you can get up to 3 free items in your first 3 monthly boxes. That's 1 item each month for as long as you stay for 3 months. They've got fantastic stuff coming up for May. I think May's officially sold out, but June is open, so go and check that out right now. WrestleCrate.co.uk. Use the code TWM Wrestling. We're going to talk a little bit about Impact. We'll talk about a bit of Dark Side of the Ring and Total Bellas with myself and my lovely friend and co-host. It's Kimmy. Hello there.
Hello.
You sound happy.
Yeah, I've been drinking.
I was going to say, you sound happy. So I have a clear, sparkling, fruity water. You have been drinking because it's a bank holiday.
I have Bud Light.
So this is going to be interesting.
Do you know what makes it even better? I just ordered TGI Fridays and my mum's going to collect it.
Is that open down that way?
Yeah, the Basildon one's open, so I literally just ordered it and my mum's gone to collect it for me. And I am living. I'm so, in all fairness, I will get takeaway later on. It's a Friday, it's a bank holiday. We live a little. But I did read the list of the McDonald's that are open, and the fact that, and this is specific Essex chat going on for the next 30 seconds. The fact that Chelmsford have got 2 open is a fucking liberty. I know! What the fuck is that about? At least open another one somewhere else. Why have you got 2 in the whole entire country of all of them McDonald's they have? They open 2 in the exact same fucking place.
I know, it's an absolute liberty. Also, I'm annoyed that my old uni town is the one that's also got McDonald's open. I'm there's none in the vicinity here. It's an absolute madness. Anyway, Kim's drinking. I've got some water. It's party time. Let's talk Impact. So, there was another brand new face in the Knockouts division on this week's episode of Impact during Madison Rain's locker room talk. We saw Nevaeh 2 weeks ago. Me and Carl spoke about that. Nevaeh made her debut in the match between Havoc and Rosemary. And they interviewed Havoc during locker room talk, and Madison Rain stirred the pot by bringing in another old face from Havoc's past. It's someone that some people might be aware of, some people might not be. You may remember from the Mae Young Classic under the name Abby Lath, or you may know her from the Independents as Kimber, which is another really solid addition to the Knockouts, to the Knockouts division, to be fair. I'm a big fan of Kimberly from her work in Chikara as well, and she's done a lot of stuff. She's obviously the Mae Young Classic as well, and she's done a lot of stuff on the Independents, particularly in the East Coast. I also love that a lot of people are making their debuts, I think because they've all travelled in packs, because I think she's Kimberly's engaged to Wentz of the Rascals. Not saying that's the reason. Yeah, I think Wentz of the Rascals.
I didn't know that.
But I'm not saying that she got the job because of that. But I do like the fact they've gone, well, if we're all going, we might as well bring all of the wrestlers from our extended family down, and we can all do a wrestle. But the interesting thing to look at, if we look at WWE, AEW, NXT, and then look at Impact's women's division, looking at the bodies in that women's division, I think Impact are a lot higher up than a lot of people give them credit for.
I honestly think the Impact are winning with their women's division at the minute, because although you have got some serious talents in WWE, because I don't think it even comes down to just talent. I think it comes down to how the company is using
their women's division. If you look at companies like WWE and AEW, they have an amazing women's division, but they're not using it correctly. Impact know exactly the type of talent they have, and they are using it correctly.
Yes. There is one small issue, which I'll get into in like a few minutes' time when we get to our next point. But I do agree. They're using them correctly. They're making them... they're making them look like serious threats. If a character has run its course, they are finding new directions for them rather than just not using them. Like Rosemary, we spoke about this before. They'd run out of things for Rosemary to do after the whole Havoc, Father James Mitchell thing. So they make her into a comedic character, but without getting rid of what makes the character good. What they've done is turned the psychotic goth thing and turn it on his head, where she's now basically almost this narrator for the Knockouts division at a bar, and it's really, really good, and I really, really enjoy it, and I'm really intrigued where they're going to go forward with kind of Nevaeh and Kimberly and Havoc and how they're going to have all this all this turn out. But there is one issue, and I'm going to come to it in a second, but we come to our second point, because it's time for a tournament, because literally that's the fail-safe for quarantine wrestling, is we need to fill a few weeks, whack on a tournament, because Josh Matthews announced there's going to be an 8-man tournament, keyword there, man tournament, to decide the number one contender for Tessa Blanchard's Impact World title. And I know they're stuck, and I know like there's not much they can do, and they need to fill TV time, but I'm just fed up of seeing tournaments. Like, I love a tournament. A tournament's great, but we're seeing them on every single promotion. At least NXT have like varied it up by doing like two leagues and then a final, rather than just a normal like elimination tournament thing.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It kind of gets a bit boring after a while, because you kind of see the same thing happening. Like, I want them to build a character up rather than have a tournament. I want them to build a character up so that they are ready to take the position of number one contender.
Yeah, and I think the perfect thing for this would have been, and you might not have been watching, this was back in like the TNA/Impact days a few years ago. They could have renamed it, and I would have rather them bring back the old Bound for Glory series, where it was like a single league table of like 12 people all fighting each other, and it was really, they, in all fairness, the people that wrote it back then made it really convoluted, and it got really, really ridiculous, but they've got good writers now. So why not just whack like the top 10 guys or top 10 people in it?
Well, this is exactly what I was about to say. Why is it men?
I know, like, literally, I wrote down, where do women at? Because it's...
Why, the whole point of having the Impact World title, especially being on Tessa, is the fact that she's a woman. So why is the number one contender got to be an 8-man scramble? Why can't it be 8 mixed scramble?
Yeah. Why can't it be...
4 females, 4 men.
Yeah. Why couldn't the first round be... Because they've announced Havoc versus Kimberly next week. Why couldn't that be a first round match in the Impact World title tournament?
Well, there you go. Why?
And it's not as if they haven't got precedent. They done like a really long, convoluted tournament many years ago, and they had 4 knockouts in that tournament. It's when they started slowly bleeding in more in-agenda stuff. And it's like the thing of, like, I love the reason why Moose isn't in the tournament. They did an interview with Moose, and Moose is like, because obviously last week, obviously you weren't here last week, but they didn't have a world title match, but Moose came out with the old TNA title and was like, well, I'm the TNA champion. I have decided that I'm bringing this belt back. And they interviewed him this week where Josh Matthews is like, you literally stole that from a warehouse. You're not TNA world champion. And he's just like, no, I am. And also, I'm not being in the tournament, because why would I want that belt? I am the TNA champion. But instead of putting anyone in, they put in fucking Rohit Raju, who's not won a match in 14 millennia. And literally, why he's Rohit Raju? And I'll stop the question there. I will say his promo was really good, though. He did a really, really good promo. It's a really nice, fiery babyface promo. But yeah, I'm just kind of like, they could have done something a bit more interesting, and they've reverted to type, which isn't like Impact. Impact normally go against the grain, and this is very much the status quo.
I don't know what's happening there. It's a bit weird.
We do get our Sami Callihan face turn based off week 1. We assumed of not
Sami Callihan like
based off of well, it's a weird. I think he might be a bit of a tweener, so I think he's probably doing more what he does on the indies, because he like show respect to Shamrock. They both beat down Michael Elgin. He's confirmed that he doesn't need OVE. He's on his own now, but he didn't shake his hand. He kind of did the whole thing of like thumbs up, thumbs down. I press the button on my phone and I disappear. So they did do a VT of the main event last week and made it look far better than it was, because that main event was Dollar's Dishwater. also, based off night one of Rebellion from 2 weeks ago, where the North said they're going to defend their titles in Canada, they did against some jobbers called the Creeps. And also, they did exactly what I've told everyone to do. They obviously did it in wherever Ethan Page's promotion runs, so obviously he can get into it. And they literally dressed up like tackling dummies in t-shirts in the crowd and just pumped in crowd noise, and it was amazing. Brilliant, because Ethan Page was just high-fiving them, like one of them got knocked to the floor and he just picked it up, and he was on fire. And the best thing about this is I think they left in an intentional fuck up. It was brilliant, because Ethan Page said something aside. He said something aside, but he like legitimately just burst out laughing, but they left it in because it looked really funny. Also, a lot of references to Kurt Angle this week as well. Like, they had Josh Alexander being like, I want to wrestle Kurt Angle, and Ethan Page turns around and goes, his 90 days isn't even up yet. Chill, which was funny. And then, but it was a really, really good, solid segment. Just let Ethan Page talk. He's great. We also had the X Division title main event. Willie Mack defended over Chris Bay and Ace Austin. Really, really good match. Ace Austin says he's outgrown the X Division, so it looks like they're going to push him up the card. Then we had Triple XL over OVE, so OVE still haven't won a match, so they're getting done dirtier than the Rascals at this point. We had a great diary from Cousin Jake doing his self-isolation diary, where he was selling merch at the roadside and talking to dolls, and he was just like, that's a hard relate to a lot of people right now.
It really is.
Just talking to inanimate objects. We got Suicide over Johnny Swinger. This was okay. I did laugh at Johnny Swinger constantly calling Suicide Spidey. Made me laugh. And then also doing the thing of, I'm going to rake the eyes, and they're just gone, and he's like rakes the back, and they're like, he's in a mask and a bodysuit. That's not going to affect him. If you rake someone's back and they're wearing a suit, he is wearing the full body condom. He is protected. Joseph P. Ryan defeated Cousin Jake in a Rebellion rematch that I did not give a toss about. It was very boring. They did a very nice vignette for Kira Hogan, talking about her basically being like, it's my time and I'm from Atlanta. And we had Rosemary in the bar, as we spoke about earlier, and I want to mention this. She was wearing a t-shirt that said, I put the fun in funeral, and I want that t-shirt.
I want that t-shirt.
It's the best thing ever. I love that.
I mean, do they have a Euro store?
I don't think I don't think that's a TNA shirt. I think that's just like a generic. So if you just put in "I put the fun in funeral" t-shirt on Google, you will probably find that somewhere on Etsy, I imagine. But yeah, Rosemary, we forever stand the goth fashion icon that is Rosemary.
Oh yeah, no, there's quite a few on there.
There we go.
Yeah, on Amazon.
So you've had a few drinks and you're already on Amazon, so we know there's going to be some drunk purchases during this podcast.
Oh, I've already done it.
TWM podcasts are brought to you by We Love Sport, the fantastic app finding you your nearest sports bar showing the latest WWE pay-per-views. We Love Sport has over 400 of the best sports bars and pubs in the UK at your fingertips and allows you to book front row seats, giving you the best views of the action. You can also check out what sports are being shown over the next 7 days, making sure you don't miss a second of the action. Download the We Love Sport app on the App Store or Google Play Store. Follow We Love Sport on all social media platforms at We Love Sport UK and check out welovesport.co.
This week's episode of Dark Side of the Ring was about Herb Abrams and the UWF. Now, if you read my What We Learned article, that was brilliant, if I do say so myself, available at twm.news, my main talking point for all of this was how this isn't a movie. I have no idea. Now, I'm going to give full disclosure here. On this one, because I feel like this is going to be a much better thing for this. Kim has been very busy this week, so she's watched two things. She didn't get a chance to watch Dark Side of the Ring, so I'm basically just going to relay all the stuff, and you're going to get a live reaction on what Kim's thoughts were on this. So yeah, this is basically about a man who loved wrestling, but also loved the cocaine. And this story gets incredibly 80s really, really quick. Highlight of which, first of all, one of the wrestlers was called Sunny Beach, and that I just think that's the best name ever for a wrestler. Hi, my name is Sunny Beach. It starts off well, where he's at a wrestling fan convention and turns around and says, well, I'm bringing in Blackjack Mulligan as head booker. He was in jail at the time, but I'm bringing in Bruiser Brody as my big guy, with a noble handicap of being deady from a year ago. So, which was brilliant. Something that was really interesting is apparently, imagine having the balls to do this. This is great. Like, this is one of the bits that made me laugh the most in this episode. He'd done, like, 1 or 2 TV tapings. He turned up to Vince McMahon's office, organised the meeting to basically say, you stay on the east side of the US, I'll stay on the west side, and we stay out of each other's business. Like, imagine having the balls to be like, I've done 2 shows, I'm now basically going to tell Vince McMahon that we are equals. In the 80s, just before WrestleMania.
Mate. Having the balls to do so like that, though.
It's great. Vince told him to piss off, which was brilliant. This whole story, Mick Foley is just far too nice. He keeps telling everyone how great Herb Abrams is, but then by the end of it, you'd literally just hear about a 5-foot Jewish guy in cowboy boots, snorting coke and being naked all the time. As I wrote down, this story gets incredibly 80s really, really quickly. Abrams was obsessed with taking out Vince McMahon. Another brilliant bit of this where literally, like, Herb Abrams trying to pick a fight with Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon just one banging him with one shot. Herb Abrams brings in Andre the Giant for one show. Vince immediately calls Andre the Giant and gets him back for the next one. just full on, just fucking with him. And Herb Abrams making a belt that said UWF on the side plates, so when you folded it in, it said FU, which was literally him telling Vince McMahon to fuck off on TV. The 80s are just the most ridiculous thing ever. And then it gets full Wolf of Wall Street because it's just cocaine, hookers and wrestling. One of the guys talks about how the guy they just brought, he'd like come in to basically take a look at the promotion, see if he wanted to sign. Herb Abrams just brought in a massive bag of cocaine and 2 call girls in Hollywood, and shit got real, basically. We hear about the Spartanburg incident, where basically Herb Abrams says, oh look, I've got all this money, I can pay the TV guys, and then proceeds to write them all checks from a second bank account that was empty, and he nearly got himself thrown out of a 5th-story building, because 80s. And then one of the wrestlers talks about hanging out with a 5-foot Jewish guy in cowboy boots and nothing else, and he doesn't really like reference the point of why he was in the room with a naked 5-foot Jewish guy in cowboy boots, which was great. But they also, like, going back and watch this, because they had this big debate on whether Herb Abrams was was on coke during the Blackjack Brawl. Look at the video packages and tell me that man is not out of his bin. It is brilliant. And then they kind of
watched it.
The end is really, 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 really sad, because he seemed like they showed like shots of him in '96. He seemed like he turned his life around. And he seemed very clean. He seemed like he was getting his shit together. And then the end of it, the scene is so typically 80s, even though it was 1996. He basically his death had the combination of baseball bats, hookers, oil, Vaseline, and cocaine.
Oh my god!
And the 3 reasons why he died, they're not funny, but they are funny, because obviously the 2 obvious ones were he had a heart attack because of the cocaine and the hookers.
Yeah.
He had a seizure because he got himself so worked up. The other one is that someone believes is that he ran into a door. Like some kind of Pee Wee Herman bullshit, just bang. And they talk about basically like the conspiracy theory of he could have faked his own death, which would be amazing if that was true. And then the other bit, they also tell us they had a little dog that he'd named Cokie, for fuck's sake.
Cokie.
And then thing is though, like the bit's quite heartwarming in the end. It's like at the end of the story, you found that no matter what he did, these guys loved him because they believed in him. And you had like this guy Stevie Ray, not the WCW one, this other guy, and he was just broke down. And he's like, well, this guy made me think I was going to be like the biggest deal in the world. He made me believe that I was like a big deal. So I'm forever indebted for someone believing in me as much as he did, no matter what he did. And then Foley with like the line of the show at the end, but one of us like, what do you think that if Herb Abrams was alive right now, what would we be doing? And he just goes, time. And it's like he would be in prison, and I'd be turning up and like cheersing to him. But it's just, this needs to be a film. It's about a guy with a lot of money that loved wrestling, that lived far. It's the Wolf of Wall Street, but wrestling. It's like amazing story. Like it's absolutely fascinating, and I cannot like recommend this episode highly enough. It's probably my favourite episode so far. out of all of them. I cannot recommend it enough. Go check out my my.
Okay, I will go.
Go check out my What We Learned if you've already watched it as well. I'm just going to look up, see what the next week's one is, because I know there's a pretty heavy one coming up in the next few weeks. But I want to check what next week's one is. I don't think it is next week's one. It's the Road Warriors next week, which will be very, very interesting. But the Owen Hart one's in 2 weeks' time, and that is going to be a very, very interesting watch, to say the very, very least.
TWM Podcasts have joined forces with WrestleCrate, the original and best monthly theme, monthly wrestling subscription service to bring you a fantastic deal. If you use the code TWM Wrestling when you sign up to a monthly subscription at WrestleCrate.co.uk, you will receive a free item in your first month's box. Then, if you stay for another month, you'll get a second free item. And then, if you stay for a third month, you guessed it, we'll give you a third free item. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. WrestleCrate brings you the best swag from the biggest companies and names in the wrestling world. We're talking t-shirts, photos, pins, DVDs, vinyl figures, and loads more from WWE, Progress, Shakara, NXT, Fight Club Pro, and loads more. That's WrestleCrate.co.uk and use the code TWM Wrestling for up to free items, all thanks to WrestleCrate and TWM.
Total Bellas, episode 6. This one, it gets good. It's been good for a while, but this one, there is a lot of stuff going on. So we see all the stuff regarding Nikki and Artem, and the big fallout from Nikki and Artem this week. Also, there'll be more issues with Nikki and JJ, so this will be fun. So we open with Nikki and Brie going record shopping and talking in Spanish. Nikki's in workout gear and heels because apparently that's a thing.
Apparently this is a new thing. Right? I've looked this up, okay, because I don't believe it. But apparently the new trend that's fashionable in the United States is to wear workout gear, but don't wear it for working out. Is to wear it as a fashion statement.
Whereas over here, it's to wear it just because you can't be asked to work out.
Exactly that.
That's why I live in t-shirts and basketball shorts. I give the illusion that I'm going to do something, but it's not going to happen.
I didn't do shit.
Winston eats paper as we see more dream boards, but this time it's with Spanish and Mexican stuff for Birdie B. And they want to reconnect with their Mexican roots, but Brie wants JJ to be involved. Brie starts talking in Spanish, and Nikki, as she would, just starts looking up swear words in Espanol.
That's the first thing I did. When I was learning Norwegian, the first thing I learnt was swear words, because it's the most fun bit.
I'm pretty sure I did it when I was trying to learn Swedish for a little bit. I tried to learn the swear words first. Nikki and Artem talk about doing a date night because they've not had any time to themselves. But then someone... I can imagine this. I can't remember. Like, I imagine this happened to me before, but I imagine it's very awkward when you're like sitting there with a loved one or on a date or whatever, and like either someone's on the outside has decided like cleaning a window, or someone's right next to the window while you're talking. Because even though they can't hear you, they're not focused. You do feel like someone's intruding.
Yeah, no, that's normal.
Nikki's immediate thought is to put her boobs up against the window because it's Nikki Bella.
I feel like I am Nikki Bella.
I do feel like they used to have very similar outlooks on everything. Like, I think that's the one thing we're taking away from this season so far, is that Nikki Bella is very much you, and you are very much Nikki Bella.
I think I really am.
We cut to JJ's house as they show that one of his kids can walk, which is a lovely bit. Brie tries to put Mexican clothes on his kids, and JJ just immediately mugs it off. He's clearly not comfortable with this. And Brie just basically goes, you know what? You're not comfortable with that. I'm going to push it even further and just lay it on. But JJ's clearly not ready to talk about this. And I just wrote down, let it breathe. You don't need to be like, well, you don't like this. How about the 6 other things that I want to put on you?
No.
The Bellas get dressed up. So they go and get ready. And Nikki, Nikki is worried that she's hoed up a bit too much. I think she was alright. Yeah, she was.
I think she looked really nice.
What I love is that I don't know how you know this, For some reason, I when you saw Brie, I was like, Brie's wearing a very like mum party dress. It's like you can tell which one was the mum and which one wasn't.
When I think it's like a normal thing, because when my sister first had Madison, she started like proper wearing different clothes and dressing like a mum, and I was like, no, you got to let it go. Like, you need to be a bit more slutty. Like, stop trying to cover up. Like, you can. I don't know. I think it's just like a mentality thing where women are like, no, I'm a mum now.
Maybe what you need to do, you and your sister, maybe, because she seems like to be the Brie. Maybe you need to find clips of Total Bellas on TikTok, and you guys should just be doing that.
That is pretty much me and my sister.
We hear a problem because Nikki's double booked herself. She's got a launch party before a date with Artem. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh no!
Jump cut. Nikki shitface. And he's talking to some guy. Not really doing anything, just talking to some guy. Here comes Artem. Artem is just a little bit, like, PO'd because Nikki's hammered and, like, will not leave this guy alone, even though I think she's aware that Artem's there. So Artem, I would say, does the sensible thing and just goes, yeah, no, I like, you're with your sister, I'm out. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, that is sensible.
Let's dissect this. Let's look at this. So, Nikki didn't do anything wrong. But, at the same time, she also is, like, got really drunk beforehand, and Artem is like, I've never seen you like this, like, nah fam, this ain't it, chief. So, but at the same time, Artem should be like, you're drunk, let me help you out. But then at the same time, if Nikki's being drunk and being an arse, which we find out later on, they're both kind of in the right and in the wrong. Like, Artem's trying to do the right thing, but by doing the right thing, he's going the wrong way about it. And Nikki's not really doing anything wrong, but she's not really doing anything right at the same time. Right. They're both kind of in weird limbo. Helping. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do feel like they're kind of both in the wrong in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, they because I agree with you, Artem should have kind of he shouldn't have gone over to her and interrupted her. If she was out having a good time, it's not right to be controlling over that. But at the same time, if you see your girlfriend in a state where she is that drunk, to be concerned for her well-being is the correct way to go about it. But at the same time, Nikki shouldn't have ignored him.
Like,
she didn't do anything wrong by talking to the guy.
Literally, all Artem had to do was probably walk over and be like, hey, I'm here, when you're ready, we can go. That's literally it. Like, that's it. And then if she starts being a pain after that, then you've done what you need to, and then you could be like, you know what, she's drunk. Are you? And then turn around to whoever, Brie, and just be like, she's hammered. She clearly is not interested on this date thing. You all right looking after her? Or do you want me to do it? And if Brie goes, I'll keep an eye on her, I can be like, right, I'm gonna go tell her that I've gone because, like, I'll talk to her in the morning, and then.
Yeah,
Nikki's in the wrong there, and you've done all you can. I feel like he didn't do anything, which was okay, but not the right thing to do. Like, he needed to do something rather than nothing and everything. That makes sense.
No, I agree.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done nothing. He shouldn't have done everything, but he should have done something. However, Artem does the right thing and turns back up to clear clear the air. That's the phrase. I'm the one who's not drinking. But then sees Nikki with another guy, and immediately just goes, red flag, peace. And like all good sisters / friends on the night out, the sensible one, Brie, runs over and does really well to be like, no, go talk to her. It's fine. Come on, let's leave. Yeah. However, he goes back in. He waits. But then Nikki is just salsa dancing with some dude and literally making the most effort to make no effort to talk to him. So now... Yeah. So he went in, did the right thing, and then she's being a dick. So Artem just goes, no, I'm going. I'm done. I can't be bothered with this. She's safe with you. You're with sister. Well, also, you're also famous, so therefore there's probably a lot of people around. You're fine. And then... Yeah. We get the situation that I believe every... other half has had in their life, every human's had in their life, which is the drunk-sober argument, where you're sober and you're trying to sort a problem, the other person's smashed, and they're making no sense.
There is no thing. You can't have a conversation where one of you is drunk and one of you is sober. Either both of you have to be sober or both of you have to be drunk.
Yeah, but this is
there's no point even trying.
But this is like level 5 drunk sober argument, because Artem is just like, just leave it. Artem's like, literally leave it. Don't need to. 'Cause I've had this before with Danny, where I can handle my drink. Danny cannot. So,
no, I remember.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You've seen it before. Like and I'll be like, she not got an argument, but she'll be like, should we think I'm upset or something? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I just want to like go. You're really drunk. I want to take you home. She's like, no. And then, but it's like, there's no. It's literally like talking to a brick wall. You're just like, there is no point. You might just be like, just doing simple commands. We leave. We go home. Bed. Sleep. Done.
Yes.
Because Nikki's making 0 sense and Artem's keeping his cool, even though he's pieced out 3 times, and I can't figure out who is in the wrong here. I feel it's Nikki, which we do.
I feel it's Nikki.
Yeah, because what we see afterwards is basically that Nikki's trying to goad him into an argument. The way she's talking is like, but Artem is basically patient of a saying. He's like, I'm not reacting, which is the right thing to do. He's not reacting to her. And then he just goes, you're impossible to talk to right now, and does the thing that I said. Can you get home all right? Fine. I'm getting back in my car and I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So we find out that Bree mode is the party girl, and we know that Nikki mode is just an angry drunk. Nikki Bella's a very angry drunk. We hear the drunk ramblings of the Bellas as Nikki says she doesn't know if she wants to be in this relationship.
Oh.
But then what does Nikki do? Immediately go straight to Artem's house, and they finally have the argument. It takes him a few hours, but Artem finally snaps. But even when Artem snaps, he's still remarkably calm.
Yeah.
He just goes...
I don't think that's full-blown snap. There's more snap there.
I imagine it takes, like, a lot, but I imagine this is... He goes, enough, you're drunk, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm not having this conversation now. And I'm just like, I don't like you being drunk, and you're flirting with other guys in front of me. And then I've seen this before with different girls. Did you notice the face that Nikki was pulling, like the cocky drunk face, the little smirk,
yes,
which is like,
everyone has their cocky drunk face.
I'm drunk and I've got an attitude. I'm not going to regret this in the morning. Jump cut to the next day. Nikki is immediately regretting all this. And what I love is Bree is so smart, because she's like, you finally had your first fight. The honeymoon period is over. I'm not the only one in a long-term relationship now, god damn it. Nikki's realised she's in the wrong, but she's also realised that Artem triggered something in her because she doesn't like people that are jealous. He wasn't really he did say he didn't like it, but he's not exactly he was sitting there like getting jealous. He was more like,
not being funny, but there's a difference between being jealous that that your other half is talking to someone else, and like that's fine. I couldn't give 2 fucks if like my boyfriend was talking to someone else. But if I was to see him dancing with someone else, that's not jealousy. That is immediate. Like, what the fuck are you playing at?
Yeah, and even immediate jealousy. And then afterwards, if he was like, oh no, this is blah 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 blah, and there was a reason, you'd be like, I was jealous immediately, but the situation has been deferred. Yeah. There is jealousy, and there's mugging your boyfriend off. And in this case, Nikki mugged her boyfriend off. For people that are not the UK, mugging off means making a fool of, for people in that vernacular. They have a meeting at Birdie Bee, and Nikki is hungover, but she powers through because she's a champion.
Yeah, boy.
And we finally get the confrontation.
Here it goes.
What I love is Nikki is in his house and immediately it's not a defensive position, but she takes the relaxed, she tried to get herself as comfortable as possible on his, to be like, if I look really cute and innocent here, I'm not going to be the one, because she literally
that's a laid go-to
in a duvet on her phone, laid out on his sofa, and I'm like, she's not in the confrontational position at all there. Tremendous work tremendous relationship psychology there, in-ring psychology from Nikki Bella in this argument. Artem remains calm, and basically Nikki explains a flimsy story, but then Artem just immediately just shuts it down by going, we were meant to go on a date and you got shit-faced. So
yeah, pretty much in a nutshell.
Yeah, and then Nikki goes, do you want to be together then? And Artem goes, no, do you want to be with me? It's on your head. And then Nikki apologises, and Artem goes, I take responsibility for being a bit of a dick, but you were in the wrong as well. And Artem just goes, I hope this is a lesson. It's hard to come back, but it's a lesson learned and we move on. And Artem's mad chill, and they kiss and make up. And I just wrote down, wow, a normal argument in a relationship on reality TV. It wasn't like a dramatic water throwing
or anything. Yeah.
We then get a hard cut. Let's make tamales. I don't know what a tamale is.
I don't know. Let me Google it.
What is a tamale?
A tamale is a traditional. I am not going to be out the right. A South American dish made of dough, which is steamed in a corn husk or a banana leaf.
Well, we now know what a tamale is.
They actually look really freaking nice.
You should cancel your TGI Friday order and order some tamales.
No, man, I'm so excited for my vegan burger. It ain't funny. I'm on it.
Nikki wonders where JJ is, and I can't get a good read of Lauren, his wife, because she can't
like her.
She can't explain. She's too she's blunt. But then she explains her bluntness straight away. Like, she goes, yeah, no, he's pissed off at you, but here's the valid reason why he's pissed off at you. And I'm like, what you seem to do is land a punch and then go for a hug straight afterwards.
Yeah, kind of like, I fucking hate you, but I love you.
Yeah, it's literally, it's just like, yeah, no, he thinks you're overbearing, but these are the reasons why, and this is why you should really talk to him more. You can't have a hard hit and then a soft touch. You two-way street, fam. And she can't do it, but Nikki they say that, Brie is pushing a lot of this on JJ. And then Mommy Bella with the biggest hypocritical line so far. Don't feel bad, just change. Boy. So Mum and Nikki go for a drink, and oh my god, she's 2 weeks late.
Oh, damn.
Thing is, though, annoyingly, we know how this turns out, thanks to celebrities. Mum is worried, and Nikki hasn't told Artem yet. Oh joy, we're going to see how this plays out. We know how it ends. It ends in a child. A pregnancy. Brie and JJ take the kids for smoothies, and they, discuss being Spanish. And then in a comedy moment, Brie can't read Spanish as she puts hot sauce on everyone's ice cream. And they finally bond over something, being not able to speak en Espanol. Brie says sorry, and they come to an understanding. And then Birdie tries to speak Spanish, but calls JJ a girl. Mommy Bella comes back to Nikki and just goes, pregnancy test. Piss on this, please. And Nikki's like, I'd rather be surprised by giving birth. And I wrote down, and denial is a river in Egypt. A mum then drops her in it with Brie because peer pressure works. They're like, pee on the stick, you pussy. And then she's about to pee, and Artem walks in the room. But they hide. But literally, I love the fact that they end it on the most sitcom, trying to hide something behind you. Literally, Nikki's arms behind her back, leant to one side, being like, I'm not doing anything. Womp womp. Next week, we find out Birdie wants to be a bear. Brian and Brie hate each other still, and pregnancy test drama. More on the Bellas, by the way. I do have the book to read. Their autobiography came out this week.
Ooh,
yes. A lot of big stories came out that have already come out about the WWE stuff, John Cena stuff, and some really, really harrowing stuff about, I think it's Nikki's teenage years. I won't bring it up on the podcast. I want to trigger anyone.
I saw that, actually. No, let's not.
You can scope it out for yourself, but it's a very hard, apparently it's a really, really tough read, but very, very good read. I've been talking to Shirley, who's one of our people that work on TWM, and she's enjoying it as well. So yeah, I'm going to try and read it this week, and maybe I'll come back with a little bit of a look at it next week. I'm going to try and read as much as I can. But the Bella's book, I'll see if I recommend it, but I've heard good things. Anyway, that wraps up Best of the Rest for this week. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at TWM Wrestle. If you want to go and check out what we're up to, check out our Instagram, check out our Twitter, check out our Facebook stuff. TWM Podcasts, Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, Acast, Podbean, Deezer, Google Podcasts, YouTube, all that stuff. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, smash that like button, turn notifications. We are recording a lot more video content at the moment that's going to be going out in the next few weeks. Check it out, featuring myself, featuring Reese, featuring Jess. We're going to have loads of stuff going out. Twitch.tv/TWM Wrestle. We're doing more with Twitch as well. If you did catch it, on Wednesday we did a little Fire Pro sim thing, just messing around. We're going to do that more often. We're going to do another one next week. And we are doing Twitch predictions on Sunday with me, Shirley, George and Tom. So come and check that out. Twitch.tv/TWM Wrestle. Actually, jumping back on our podcast, we have got a lot of interviews coming out in the next few days. You might see it on social media. Former WWE Cruiserweight Champion Leo Rush is going to sit down with Joe and talk about his WWE release, his time in WWE, and his brand new album. That's going to be a special TWM Talks out on Saturday night. We've also just recorded an interview with Yestin Reese for any
Anything But Wrestling. That'll be coming out very soon. That wasn't the thing I was meant to say. I'm going to jump back and say Reese also recorded an interview with the former X Division champion Ace Austin. That's going to be coming out very, very soon as well. So check that out. And now I'm going to jump forward and say Anything But Wrestling. That's starting in 2 weeks' time. We'll be talking to wrestlers about anything but wrestling. We've recorded interviews with Millie McKenzie, Mariah May, and the aforementioned Yestin Reese. We've got more coming up with loads of other different wrestlers, some really, really fun ones in the very near future. I'm not going to say yet. I'll tell you when they are recorded, but those are 3 that are recorded and are going to be out starting the 18th of May. I think the episode 1 is Millie McKenzie, and it was insane. So please go check that out. Please subscribe and 5-star review and all that good stuff. Anyway, Kimberly, social medias. Tell them how they can be aware of your drunken Nikki Bellaness.
Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Kymmie A. Although I'm mainly on TikTok at the minute.
Yes, but you put all your TikToks on your Instagram anyway. So
I do post and I obviously post about my life more on Instagram than I do TikTok.
Two things about Kim's Insta. Number one is one to you specifically. Stop putting your votes right in the side corner, because I keep accidentally clicking on the. I'm trying to flick through, and I keep clicking it. It's always the one that no one else clicked on, so I look like a dick. And secondly, yesterday you were doing some sort of TikTok thing, and then just started recording a normal conversation with all your horror makeup on. Generally scared the shit out of me.
Honestly, well, I couldn't see what I was doing at all. Them contacts literally just blinded me, and I didn't know if I was actually recording or not, but I should have probably put a warning on it first.
It's I'm going to be scary in the next 3 Instagrams. Yeah, follow me at Matty ID. I don't put a lot up because I don't really look at my Twitter or Instagram. I'm considering starting the Twitch that I'm using to watch other people's stuff, just to do stuff while I'm bored in the current time, but I'll let you know if and when I do that. But our Twitch is TWM Wrestle, as is everything else. Thank you for watching. This has been Best of the Rest and listening. I don't know what's going on. I'm just looking outside because it's really, really nice out. I'm going to go outside for a bit now.
Chill.
Stay safe, wash your hands. We love you all. Thank you, bye.
Coronavirus.